Bitcoin was just insanely manipulated, pumping to nearly $80,000 and then dropping immediately to $77,000. You need to know why is this happening before you make some bad choices. So if we take a look at Bitcoin's chart right here, here is exactly what I'm talking about. We can see that we have bumped from $78,000 in a few hours straight to $80,000. Then what happened is that we made an equal high right here, and then we just heavily dumped straight back to $77,000. Now, what could this mean? This could end two ways. This could be start of something very, very, very bad, or this could be just a casual everyday event happening in the crypto space. So how do we differentiate what is the actual move? So this right here, this pump to $80,000 is called a liquidity sweep, and we had a short liquidity sweep, meaning that we wiped all shorts of their liquidity. The market makers were simply manipulating the short positions right here, meaning they were liquidating them by pushing through their stops. And while we were pushing up on this move right here, we had long positions also coming in to long the price right here, setting up their stops as well. Once the price has done pushing up the short liquidations, we simply started liquidating the long stops, right? So this was a two-way manipulation, meaning that we were liquidating both shorts and we were both liquidating longs at one moment, meaning wiping liquidity from both sides of the market. This is a usual event in the crypto space, which happens a lot of times, but this of course could trigger something that would be also very bad for the crypto markets. So if we take a look at Twitter, we can see that crypto and fear greed index has flipped to neutral at 47 today, up from fear at 33 yesterday, which of course means that the sentiment is improving, that people are not so fearful anymore, and that crypto market is starting to establish. And we can see that the pump to $79,000 for BTC was a bit influenced by the Iran news to offer US deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and the war and postpone nuclear talks. So on the news like that, we of course started to pump, and then of course it turned out just to be one big of a manipulation. So we can see that on the daily chart, Bitcoin has been rallying nonstop. We were just pushing bullish structure left and right, and we're not stopping. We're making higher highs and higher lows, and we don't have any significant pullbacks to mitigate the liquidity right here and then continue forward, right? So one thing that you should expect for BTC right now is that you should definitely be careful, because Bitcoin at any current moment could start wiping out the bottom liquidity right here before actually reversing up, because on most moves up, we also have a pullback, right? So we didn't have any significant pullbacks right here, and at any given moment BTC could crash towards $70,000, wipe out all of these stops right here, all this liquidity right here, and then start reversing up. So that's something to be very off. But if we take a look at Velo, we can also see some interesting data. If we take a look at the Coinbase premium, we can see that we have many consecutive green days. Now what does this mean? This means that people are buying from spot, right? People are buying from spot. There are spot buyers, there's spot demand, there's a strong spot demand, meaning that there is more spot buyers than sellers, and hence this is flashing green. Now this type of demand is the strongest demand we have in the crypto space, and now we have a lot of consecutive green days, and this is very, very bullish for BTC in terms of structure. As you can see, if we take a look at the daily chart, every time we have a lot of green days, it is usually associated with a big move upwards, right? Then once we start to turn red, we see that structure usually flips and we turn bearish. So very, very positive signal right here. You should definitely take a look at this, and once it starts turning red, if it starts turning red, you should start, of course, in my opinion, take your profits and perhaps look again at the charts, see if the bias hasn't changed. As you can see, this whole entire move up was driven by both spot and perps, which is a very good sign of good structure, right? But one signal that flashed that we're going to be liquidating shorts right here is that we can see that on this candle right here, the open interest just literally spiked, right? It literally spiked up, meaning that there was a ton of leverage open up once we liquidated all those shorts, right? You can see that there was a ton of leverage added, meaning that all of those positions were most likely longs, right? Because we can see that the funding was positive. And then once this insane green candle opened up, we can see that we started crashing down, and the OI crashed as well, meaning that we liquidated all of those longs by crashing the price. So if you ever see open interest spiking like this insanely, you should start to be careful, because on moments like these, we usually have a very big crash incoming. And we can see that the perp demand crashed insanely and spot demand also crashed. So right now it doesn't really look very good, but we're still structurally bullish even on the lower time frames. So nothing to worry about yet. If we start clearing all of these lows right here, if we start making some more bearish structure, and we can see that the spot demand is also starting to fall off along with the perps, funding is turning negative and OI is dropping into the move, that means that we are starting to turn bearish, and that's something that you should look out as well. So if we go on to Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can see that on $80,000 we have a huge liquidity cluster, meaning that we have a lot of resistance right here if the price ever comes into that range. And if we jump on the Bitcoin whale orders and large trades, and we jump into the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we have a huge sell wall right here up on $80,000 as well, meaning that we have a lot of sell orders. So once price reaches $80,000, we'll have millions upon millions of Bitcoin flooding the markets for sells, meaning that price is going to be most likely pushed down once it reaches that range. Most of these orders can be spoofed, but if we're matching it with a huge liquidity cluster that we have right here, and the confluence that $80,000 is a round number, then we can understand that this, of course, could be a very much real resistance zone. So all in all, right now, Bitcoin is still definitely structurally bullish, right? We're making higher highs and higher lows, but Bitcoin right now is in a very scary position where we didn't have any huge pullbacks right now, and price could be starting to drop very fast through these lows right here to clear them. And we also have a huge sell wall listed at $80,000 right here. So of course, if price touches it, we could also see the big sell wall happening. But if Bitcoin pushes through that $80,000 range, if we take a look at the volume profile, we can see that we have a very low volume node right here. What this means is that price usually moves through these very fast and very easily. So if we break through $80,000 mark, I do expect that Bitcoin can start pumping to the $86,000 and $90,000 range very easily and very fast. So in my opinion, Bitcoin right now is a bit of a gamble. If we start breaking structure towards the downside, I'll definitely start looking for shorts on the lower time frame. And I'll definitely keep all of my eyes open once we start moving into that $80,000 range, because it either makes or breaks Bitcoin for the next few months, in my opinion. So if any trade signals come along my way, I'll definitely make sure to share them along my Twitter. But Bitcoin right now is in a tough position, in my opinion. You shouldn't take any trades, in my opinion, right now, because we're very close for Bitcoin to decide which direction it's going to be moving in for the next few months.